Hello, this is Zahirul Alam. Welcome to Channel 24 on Beyond Borders. In today's special interview, we are joined by new U.S. Ambassador Brent T. Christensen to discuss important issues shaping U.S.-Bangladesh relations and the future cooperation between our two countries. This is a time when Bangladesh and the United States are working closely on issues ranging from trade and development to security and regional stability and people-to-people ties. Dear viewers, many of you want to better understand where the partnership stands today. Let's warmly welcome Ambassador Christensen to Channel 24 on Beyond Borders.
Thank you so much for having me for my first television interview since becoming the U.S. Ambassador.
It's a great pleasure for us, and we are very delighted and excited today to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So let's go straight to our conversation. And this will be a frank conversation. And we know that you, after your arrival, you have been meeting and spending very meaningful quality time with engaging many people across Bangladesh from different sectors. So which aspects in Bangladesh culture and society resonated most with you?
Well, I'm thrilled to be back here in Bangladesh as President Trump's ambassador. I think you know I have a long history with Bangladesh. I lived here before from 2019 to 2021, and I was our desk officer in Washington 2005 to 2007. But I came to Bangladesh the very first time as a tourist all the way back in 2004, so I can remember when Gulshan only had one tall building.
Okay.
One of the things that's always
2019. It was 2019.
2004.
Oh,
2004.
The very first.
The very first time was 2004 as a tourist. So since that time, I've always really been impressed by the hospitality of the Bangladeshi people. You know, with my long history here, I think I have a pretty good understanding of Bangladeshi culture, but I learn something new every day. You know, a few of the things that stand out to me, you know, Bangladeshis are a foodie people. They love food. Okay. I love food as well. Okay. I love getting out to try the food. You may have seen I've gone to try to, again, find the best kachi biryani. Okay. And I'm going to continue my food adventures over the remainder of my time here. My wife and I are also big fans of Bangladeshi artists and the Bangladeshi art scene. You know, a few weeks ago, I had the chance to honor Rokia Sultana, an artist who's also a U.S. Fulbrighter, for her accomplishments. And we've gone to several other galleries and had the chance to meet Bangladeshi artists who are doing some really amazing work. And I've also had a chance to get out a little bit and see some of the cultural sites around Bangladesh. I went down to Lalbagh Fort to see some of the restoration work we helped support under the Ambassador's Fund for Cultural Preservation. Yeah. And a few days back, I announced a new $235,000 grant to restore the Musa Khan Mosque at Dhaka University. One of the things I couldn't do before because of the restrictions of COVID when I was here 2019 to 21 was really get out and explore Bangladesh. So as ambassador, I'm looking forward to getting out and seeing a lot more of the country and meeting a lot more of the Bangladeshi people.
Ambassador Christensen, I found that you have great connection with Bangladeshi people. We're going to celebrate our Bangla New Year on 14th of April. So if you want to share some of your greetings with our viewers in Bangla.
Of course. Shubho Bangla Nobo Borsho in advance.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your greetings with Bangladesh people. Ambassador, thank you very much for sharing your very personal connection, your love for art, culture, and the societal progress in our country. So how do you see the people-to-people connection with shaping the relations between the two nations?
So people-to-people ties are really one of the cornerstones of our relationship. You know, we have nearly 55 years of partnership and friendship with Bangladesh. We have a lot of Bangladeshis who's gone to the United States as part of our exchange programs, from Fulbrights to Humphreys to International Visitor Leadership Program. Many, many Bangladeshis who've gone to study in the United States and bring those ideas and that knowledge back. People-to-people ties are an area we can continue to build. We welcome those exchanges, getting Americans to better understand Bangladesh and Bangladesh to better understand America.
Yeah, you know that after your arrival, within 2 months, we have experienced a very historic national elections, and with that elections, a new government has already been formed. So, what is the level of partnership and how the United States is engaging with the new government, and what are the new areas potential areas where you can extend your relations or partnership or cooperation in the coming days, especially with the new government?
Thank you for that really important question. I'm very optimistic about the future of the U.S.-Bangladesh partnership. The United States was the first country to recognize the results of the election and the first country to congratulate the BNP and Tariq Rahman on their victory. Just a day or so after the Prime Minister was sworn in, President Trump sent a letter really outlining some of the what we hope for the future of the relationship.
Okay.
Big parts of that. First and foremost is growing our commercial ties, our commercial and trade ties.
Yes.
We also hope for a deeper security partnership with Bangladesh. As ambassador, I'm looking for the full way that I can grow the relationship. We have some other important issues that we need to work on, working together to counter illegal migration, some of our support for Bangladesh in terms of development and health, and other areas that we can work to partner together and help grow our ties. I've been slowly getting to meet many of the new ministers and getting to engage the new government, outline what I hope for the relationship, what President Trump hopes for the relationship, and learn more about what the Prime Minister's goals are and what he's directed his ministers to try to accomplish.
You mentioned that trade and commerce are one of the key priorities between the two countries. So in a changing global dynamics, how do you see the trajectory of U.S.-Bangladesh economic relations in particular?
So this is an area where I'm really excited. I see a huge amount of potential in Bangladesh and for growing U.S.-Bangladesh economic ties. Bangladesh is 180 million or more people, so it's a very big market. People are getting wealthier. They're looking for more options. They're looking for more opportunities. The United States is also looking for new opportunities, looking for new markets. There's a lot of interest in Bangladesh. But really what we need to see is Bangladesh unlocking that potential. It's not a secret, Bangladesh is a very tough place to do business. This is well documented over many years in our investment climate statements, our national trade estimate, other reports that we make publicly available. So there's a lot that needs to still be done to improve the investment climate. But if the new government takes the actions like they've described that they want to do to open up the business environment, I think there'll be a lot of interest and a lot of potential for growing the relationship further.
Do you think the challenges in doing expanding business, you mentioned some of the hurdles we are facing. So how to deal with those problems? Do you see good intention in the new government to get over all the difficulties and for better economic relations between the U.S.?
So in my meetings and my discussions with the government, the ministers, state ministers, and other senior leaders are definitely saying the right things. We've discussed many of the problems, and they've indicated a desire to try to address those problems. But what business really needs to see is the concrete actions following on from that. So I'm hopeful now that the Parliament's been seated, now the Parliament's back in session, that we see real concrete progress on a number of these important issues.
Oh, fantastic. So let's talk about commercial diplomacy. How can the commercial diplomacy be strengthened in the coming days?
So right now, Bangladesh has signed a trade agreement with the United States. We call it the Agreement on Reciprocal Trade, or ART, which is, I think, very important for growing our trade and commercial relationship. The ART outlines a number of steps both countries will take to improve the commercial environment, to improve our trade ties. And for those who've read the trade agreement, and I would say there's a lot of people that have talked about the trade agreement who've never actually read it. It really lines up very nicely, I think, with the BNP's 31-point plan and with many of the stated goals of the new government. It talks about important things like reform of customs, combating corruption, and improving the business environment, all the things that we need to see commercial diplomacy take off. And so I'm confident that as we work together to implement this agreement, we'll see the economic ties grow accordingly.
So in your term, you would say that's a very win-win situation, but in terms of the agreement?
Absolutely. I think it's a very good deal for both countries, and I'm very excited to be here at the forefront of implementing that agreement and seeing us realize its goals.
Ambassador, as you know, that Bangladesh is approaching towards the post-LDC transition, and that will pose some real challenge. In that context, how Bangladesh can have more market access in the U.S. and also can deal with the tariff situation?
No, thank you for that important question as well. President Trump has been very clear on his views of trade for pretty much his entire life, seeking both free trade and fair trade and a level playing field for businesses between both countries. Tariffs are a key part of leveling that playing field and bringing things into alignment. The president has a lot of tariff powers. You may have seen there was a U.S. Supreme Court decision that affected a very narrow portion of the president's tariff authorities. He has many other authorities that he can use to achieve the same goals, which is, again, bringing people to the table, leveling that playing field. Countries that have signed trade agreements with the United States are very well positioned as the president implements these other tariff powers. And Bangladesh, being one of those countries, is very well positioned going forward. The key now is to implement that agreement. We consider the agreement concluded. The new government has said they intend to abide by the agreement. So now we will work together to implement that and make sure that we're best positioned to continue to grow the economies of both countries and strengthen those trade ties.
Bangladesh authorities and the business people especially, you mentioned a little bit earlier that, about TIKFA, Free Trade Agreement, but they're very interested to know about any development regarding to TIKFA, which is Trade and Investment Cooperation Forum Agreement. Any progress do you have under this TIKFA agreement?
So thank you for that. So the TIKFA is described in its name. It's a forum. TIKFA offers a forum for the U.S. government, led by the U.S. Trade Representative, and the Bangladesh government, led by the Ministry of Commerce, to come together to talk about trade and investment issues. My expectation for the TIKFA is it will become one of the main forums by which we discuss how we're going to implement the different aspects of the Agreement on Reciprocal Trade, the trade agreement, between both countries. So really, TIKFA is just a forum that we will use to discuss the other trade issues, specifically how we implement the new trade agreement between the United States and Bangladesh.
Ambassador Christensen, both Bangladesh and the United States are enjoying great cooperation with agricultural products. So how does the Trump administration view the future agricultural cooperation with Bangladesh, especially in some areas such as wheat, soy, cotton, and food security?
Thank you. This is an area I'm really excited about in our relationship. Agriculture is very personal to me. I come from a farm state, the state of Iowa, and my grandparents were actually all farmers. So I know the great work that the U.S. farmers do, and I know how important agriculture is to a country. We've really seen agricultural trade between our two countries take off over the last year or so, and it's been a real win-win for both countries. Bangladesh has bought from the United States high-quality, high-protein wheat that's being used by the Ministry of Food to help improve the nutrition for the Bangladeshi people. Soybeans and soy has been a long-standing area of trade and a very important area for helping Bangladesh meet its nutritional requirements. Of course, cotton is being used in Bangladesh ready-made garments that are then often exported back to the United States. And corn, my home state of Iowa is the #1 state for producing corn in the United States, is a new area for us, but one we hope to continue to grow. There's a lot of other areas where we could expand agricultural trade. We see a lot of potential here. I would love to be able to bring in some high-quality, delicious U.S. beef for Bangladeshis to be able to enjoy. That's something I'm really hoping to work on with the new government. But we're looking at other areas we can explore. And again, it's a win-win. Bangladeshis get more nutritious food products available, a wider variety of products. We're able to help improve the overall nutrition for people, especially people outside of the cities, while supporting the U.S. farmer and supporting reducing our trade deficit between the two countries.
Did you find adequate interest with these issues from the host government?
So I've been discussing this in my meetings with the new ministers. I also had the chance on my second week as ambassador, very soon after presenting my credentials, to go down to Tejgaon port to welcome one of those shipments of U.S. wheat. And so it was really exciting for me to do that and to meet some of the big Bangladeshi companies that are bringing in the U.S. food products for Bangladesh. Okay.
Ambassador, let's talk about the regional issues, some of the regional issues. How do you view the Bangladesh's role in the evolving, I think the situations is rapidly evolving related to Indo-Pacific framework. How do you view the Bangladesh's role in that context?
So Bangladesh and the United States share a common goal here, a free and open Indo-Pacific region. This is very important. A free and open Bay of Bengal free maritime access is very important to trade and commerce that both our countries want. We see important linkages in areas of critical infrastructure, ports, airports, undersea cables, all of that throughout the region. And we see an important role for both Bangladesh to play in the region, but also by strengthening ties between the countries in the region, we can do more at a regional level. We welcome Bangladesh's strong ties with its neighbors. We hope for continued improved relationship between Bangladesh and India, but also Bangladesh and Nepal, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, Pakistan. We like to see the whole region working together, and we think we can help play a role in working with the region, not just bilaterally, but more broadly as well.
But in what areas do you see opportunities for cooperation in promoting regional stability, particularly in South Asia and especially in the Bay of Bengal?
So this is an area where there's a lot of potential for linkages. I mentioned the importance of critical infrastructure, of having good connectivity between countries, reliable ports, reliable airports, the undersea cables that are the basis for telecommunications, for the internet and the digital economy that Bangladesh and others want to develop. So I think that's a good area for cooperation, increasing connectivity of the power grid, other things that can be done regionally that will improve the ties between countries and help them strengthen their economic relations as well. We also see a desire for a tighter security partnership with Bangladesh. That was outlined in the President's letter. And so working with Bangladesh on exercises in support of a free and open Indo-Pacific is another area that we see our cooperation continuing to develop.
You know that Bangladesh is sheltering almost 1 million Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh, and United States is supporting Bangladesh, standing by Bangladesh, and one of the biggest donor to support these people. But in the difficult economic crisis, amid financial pressure, how to deal with this pressure, how to deal and offload this burden, and how United States does think to sustain support for the Rohingya people in Bangladesh?
Oh, thank you for that question. First, we again commend Bangladesh for its hosting of the Rohingya people for now many years. The United States remains the largest donor to the Rohingya relief effort. We just recently signed a new partnership with the United Nations to try to implement our assistance more efficiently and more effectively so that potentially fewer dollars can go further and deliver a more effective response. At the same time, we are urging other countries to step up and take a greater share of this burden in support of Bangladesh. I think it's very important that we get support from more countries to try to help Bangladesh as it continues to support the Rohingya people. We remain committed to the safe, dignified, and voluntary return of the Rohingya when the conditions in their home country allow, and we continue to apply diplomatic pressure on Myanmar and others to try to help facilitate their eventual return. But I do also want to take this opportunity to say there's some misperceptions about the United States here in Bangladesh. Many people think now that we only support the Rohingya in Bangladesh, but we actually support the development of Bangladesh broadly, especially in the very important area of health. Just a few days ago, I had the chance to sit down with the Minister of Health to discuss our new 5-year framework for expanding our health partnership, particularly in the area of global health security and infectious diseases. We're providing support to Bangladesh in combating threats like multi-drug resistant tuberculosis, polio, Nipah virus, and other diseases that have the potential to spread, not just harming the people of Bangladesh, but to spread internationally as well. And we're working with the Ministry of Health on a plan to implement this, which includes some very large financial assistance from the United States to make Bangladesh safer and healthier, America safer and healthier, and really the whole world safer and healthier through those joint efforts.
But Honorable Ambassador, we are aware about the long-stated position of the United States about safe, dignified repatriation of Rohingya refugees. Is there any advancement? Is there any progress we have made on this context?
We continue to work with partners to apply diplomatic pressure on countries involved to try to facilitate the eventual safe, dignified, and voluntary return. We are a close partner with Bangladesh in this effort. We are urging other countries that have leverage with Myanmar to also continue to push to create the conditions needed for the eventual return of the Rohingya to their homeland.
Okay, let's come to another issue. You have perhaps noticed that Bangladeshi media is widely covering the Middle East crisis. There is also a growing concern, international concern surrounding the US, Iran, and Israel conflict. How does the United States view the objectives of its current actions and where we are heading forward, and how to resolve, how to deal with the situation in the Middle East?
President Trump has made very clear statements on the United States' goals and objectives in this area. You know, the president is a great communicator. He has spoken on this frequently, and he can say it far better than I ever could.
Let me turn to an issue that is especially important for many of our viewers, visa policies, which has remained a very key concern for many. Are there any real updates you can share regarding the trouble regarding visas and broader people-to-people mobility between the two nations?
This is a really important question, and one that I hear a lot as I'm out engaging with people across Bangladeshi society. President Trump was elected on a platform that focused very heavily on addressing the issues of illegal migration and securing America's borders, and we're working hard every day to do just that. Secretary of State Rubio has said repeatedly, a visa is a privilege, not a right. But what we've had from many countries is travelers abusing that privilege, overstaying their visas, going for purposes of travel that are not legitimate, not coming back home when they indicated they would. And that has required us to take certain actions in order to address that illegal migration. We're working hard with the government here on additional ways that we might work to jointly combat illegal migration. For Bangladesh right now, visitor and business visas now require a visa bond, and immigrant visas are currently on pause because of too many people going on immigrant visas and becoming what's called a public charge. First, on the visa bond, I want to be very clear. Nobody should pay a visa bond prior to being told they will be issued a visa, and they should only pay a visa bond to the people that the United States Embassy tells them are designated to receive their money. There are many illegitimate scammers, the same people that are selling fake documents, that are selling people false promises, that are trying to steal money from innocent Bangladeshis by saying, oh, give us the money, we'll take the visa bond for you, we'll help you get the visa. None of those are true. People should only follow the instructions from the U.S. Embassy and only pay a visa bond after they've been told they will be issued a visa. I also want to say student visas are not currently affected by the visa bond. Okay. It's just the categories for the business and tourist visas. On the immigrant visa pause, what we found is many people who get the visas, you pledge that you will not become a public charge. You will not go on U.S. government assistance once you immigrate. I did a video on this that you can find on our embassy Facebook page. This is very important, and so we've paused while we work to do new systems to make sure that people go for the purpose that they've said and under the rules they agreed to. Because again, if you're going to visit the United States, you need to follow the laws of our country. Okay. We're committed to working with the government of Bangladesh to address the challenges of illegal migration, and we're looking forward to taking additional steps to do just that, because it's very important for all countries to have safe and secure borders and to facilitate legitimate travel while stopping illegal travel done for false purposes.
So let me clearly understand one thing again, that the visa bond is required after the embassy decided to award you visa, is that?
That's correct. It's after you've had your interview, after you've been told that you would be issued a visa, then and only then do you pay the visa bond. Nobody should pay a visa bond prior to an interview with the embassy and prior to being told by the embassy that they will be issued a visa.
Frankly, I'm a little bit curious. Is there any room for easing the visa regime in the coming years?
So we're working very hard around the world to address the problems of illegal migration. And this is not something that's affecting just Bangladesh.
Oh, okay.
There are many countries that are now subject to visa bonds, or actually even tighter restrictions than what Bangladesh currently faces. So what we're looking for from our partners, and we've had very good discussions with the government of Bangladesh about taking concrete steps to further address illegal migration, and we're working hard each day to do just that. in partnership with the government of Bangladesh and in partnership with a number of other governments around the world.
Excellency, our viewers is not only carefully watching this interview as a diplomat, as an ambassador of United States, but also we found you a very close development partner, because you know Bangladesh from 2004. It's a long years, you're watching Bangladesh to grow, and you have seen the challenges of Bangladesh and the prospect and opportunity of this country. So how do you envision the future relations between Bangladesh and the United States in the next decade or so?
So I'm really optimistic about the future of Bangladesh and about the future of U.S.-Bangladesh relations. You know, we've talked a lot in this interview about my immediate priorities, those issues outlined in President Trump's letter to the Prime Minister. But there's a lot of other areas where we're going to try to expand the relationship, continue to do more, and grow those ties. For example, in just a few weeks, I'm going to be leading a delegation of Bangladeshi businesses to the United States for our Select USA Investment Summit. That's a summit focused on companies trying to come and do investment in the United States, which will open up potentially a lot of new opportunities for Bangladeshi businesses to grow and expand overseas. We're looking at ways we can expand our military-to-military exercises in support of that free and open Indo-Pacific. And in the short term, we have something very special coming up that I'm really looking forward to for growing our people-to-people ties. This year is America's 250th birthday. That's a very big milestone.
Congratulations in advance.
Thank you. We're really excited about what's to come. We're hosting events in support of our 250th birthday. We're calling the program Freedom 250. We're doing things all over Bangladesh throughout this year. We'll be doing things large and small. And we're really hoping that all of your viewers will take the opportunity to engage with us in these events to learn more about America's history, about our road to freedom, and about our shared history as we go forward. So we're really excited about America's 250th birthday, and I'm thrilled to be able to celebrate it here in Bangladesh.
We are thrilled as well, and congratulations again for Freedom 2050. But do you see any high-level exchange of visit this year on the occasion of Freedom 250?
So I don't want to spoil anything in advance, but we're looking for lots of opportunities to promote Freedom 250 and to build U.S.-Bangladesh ties.
Share something related to your personal family, and I know that your wife Diane is here with you, and you started from Ho Chi Minh City?
Yeah, so I've been in the diplomatic service for about 24 and a half years now.
That's a pretty long year.
I started my career in Vietnam at our Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah.
It's from there that I first came to Bangladesh as a tourist when I came to see my friends who were posted at the U.S. Embassy in Dhaka.
Okay.
I've served in Saudi Arabia,
San Salvador,
San Salvador, El Salvador,
okay,
and Manila in the Philippines overseas. And I have quite a bit of time working in Washington, not just on Bangladesh, but on a lot of issues related to security issues, political military affairs, arms sales. I also had the wonderful opportunity to go to another great farm state, Nebraska,
okay,
where I was on loan to our military as a diplomatic advisor for a few years in between my times here in Bangladesh.
Okay.
So that's where, when I talk about wanting to bring in some U.S. beef, particularly some great Nebraska beef, I think Bangladeshi customers would be thrilled about that.
How do you see Bangladesh? Is there any difference you find comparing to the stations you worked?
So, compared to 2004, I see remarkable change here in Bangladesh. Like I said, I remember when Gulshan just had that one tall building. Since 2021, of course, there's been a lot of changes in the political agreement, political arrangements, but we've also seen things like the flyovers open, some of the roads being extended, a lot of new restaurants for me to try when I have the opportunity. So I'm really excited to be back here in Bangladesh and see how we can take the opportunities even further.
Finally, Ambassador Christensen, beyond policy, beyond diplomacy, relationship between our countries are ultimately built on trust between the people, between the countries. What are the if you got any message to share with the people of Bangladesh, because we have a long-standing, and Bangladesh is one of the United States, one of the trusted partner in terms of business, in terms of greater cooperation. So, what message do you want to extend to for the people of Bangladesh?
Thank you for that opportunity. You know, the United States and Bangladesh have been partners and friends for nearly 55 years now. And as ambassador, I'm really committed to continuing to grow that relationship. You know, as the U.S. ambassador, my primary responsibility as President Trump's representative is to work hard every day to make America safer, stronger, and more prosperous, advancing America's interests here in Bangladesh. You know, that policy is often called the America First foreign policy. You know, Prime Minister Rahman has articulated a Bangladesh First policy. Governments should always act in the best interest of their people, should always put their own people first. But both countries have said, America First does not mean America alone.
Okay.
Bangladesh First does not mean Bangladesh alone. There are many areas where our interests overlap, where we can cooperate, where we can find areas of understanding, and where we can grow those relationships to be a win-win for both countries, whether it's trade, agriculture, people-to-people exchanges, security relationships, or other partnerships that we haven't even thought of yet. I really believe there's limitless potential to the relationship, and I'm really excited to be here to try to make that relationship grow. So thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you very much, and thank you for believing safer, stronger, and prosperous Bangladesh. And thank you very much, Ambassador, for sharing your precious perspective with us, and we appreciate for joining on Channel 24 for the first time after your arrival.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a tough interview, but it's been a great experience.
Thank you. Our great pleasure. Thank you, dear viewers, as well, for watching Beyond Borders. And we're delighted that Ambassador Christensen shared his precious perspective about the bilateral relations between the United States and Bangladesh, and the belief that safer, stronger, and prosperous Bangladesh they're envisioning in the coming years. And we also believe that. Thank you for watching, and we invite you to watch our next episode. Until then, do take care and goodbye.